So here we go, it's time for part 3 of the M21 spoilers. We've already done 100 of the cards, and there's 45 in this particular episode because I've caught up with everything. And it's insane because there's at least another half of the set to go, and it already feels like pretty complete. I don't know where they're going to go from here. There's tons more cards that they've yet to release, and I guess it's going to be pretty interesting from here on out. But again, I don't want to labour the intro, let's just get on to rating these cards. Hey, so before we get on with the rest of the video, if you could consider liking the video, commenting the video, subscribing if you enjoyed it and hitting the bell icon, and also you could follow us on Facebook and Twitter if you enjoy magic memes, and also follow us on Twitch where you get to watch videos like this happen live. So yeah, let's just get on with it. Next card we've got is Furious Rise, which is a 3 mana red enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, exile the top card of your library, and then you can play that card until you exile another card with Furious Rise. So this is a kind of interesting one. I don't think it's very good. Like, this is just definitely worse than that Garruk card for sure. Like, I would rather just draw the card than, like, kind of slightly extend my hand. And the other card gives trample. So whatever that Garruk card is, this has to be less than it. Honestly, I'm feeling kind of like D for this. In red, you don't tend to have, like, big guys. So again, they're pushing this big red narrative, to be fair. And it's kind of like, it just extends your hand by a card. And then doesn't do anything outside of that, so... You know, at least the Garruk card, like, you can play a guy, draw a card, play a guy, draw a card. It's not really the same with this, so... Yeah, Furious Rise, I'm sticking in D. So currently, we've got Valorous Steed, which is a 5 mana 3/3 unicorn with vigilance, and when it enters battlefield, create a 2/2 white knight creature. So it's like a fight, like, it's a 5/5 for 5, but split into 2 bodies. Like, for a common, that's like okay. I don't think it's very good, and it's like so intensely expensive for 5 mana. As much as I like what it's trying to do, it's just another E card. Maybe D. Maybe D. It seems slightly better than the other D cards just because of the utility of making 2 guys. So that might come up at some point, but that's... You know, there's a ball hair of difference between D and E, I'll tell you that. Next we've got Rambunctious Mutt, which is a 5 mana 3/4, so it's not off to a good start. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. So I see what they're trying to do here. It's like nice, kind of like a side deck card for dogs. If there's a way of like cheating in for nothing from deck, then yeah, I guess the card's good, but I don't think that card's going to exist. Doesn't seem that great. I mean, this might be alright in like a draft environment, but I'm feeling D because it kind of does a thing and it's not just a body. All these cards are just kind of like a body or like massively overcosted or just don't really do anything. So here's a good card. Here's a very good card. Right, the new Garruk. Garruk Unchained is it's only 4 mana. A 4 mana legendary Garruk Planeswalker, sure. Comes in with 4 loyalty. Uptick. 1 creature gains +3/3 and trample to end the turn. Very good. 4 mana. Make like the guy that you played last turn a fucking beast. Sure, okay. Create a 3/3 beast creature token. Alright. Then if an opponent controls more creatures than you, put a loyalty counter on Garruk. Crazy. So it's like -1, create a 3/3 beast. Very good. Then you can -7, which is like unlikely to happen as ever, but you get an emblem at the beginning of your end step. You may search the library for a creature card, then put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. I mean, that's like really decent. Yeah, I mean, this card's like clearly fucking good. I can definitely see this, like, mono green is like gotten a lot of really strong shit. Like, Vivian creates guys for free. This guy creates guys for free. That, like, the 5 mana 6/6 creates guys for free. I can definitely see, like, mono green create free guys Stompy being, like, an actual thing. And Garruk definitely falls into that. However, is it better than Vivian? Yet to be determined. Vivian's very, very good. Because it's also removal, but it doesn't create a guy. So, you know, it's got ups and downs. But I think Garruk can safely go into B. I don't see why this is definitely getting played. They're definitely pushing green Stompy for sure, but that's fine. Like, green can do that if it wants. Next card is another rare, which is Garruk's Herald. And it is a 3 mana, 4/3 beast creature. And it has hexproof from black, which is quite nice. It means it can't be murdered or anything like that. Black's got a lot of, like, targeted removal. So it's nice that it gets around that. So, whenever this deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, look at the same number of cards from the top of your library. Then you can reveal a creature or Garruk planeswalker card and then put it in your hand. This doesn't seem terrible. However, I'm kind of torn on this one. Like, for 3 mana, I feel like I would just rather play that enchantment and just keep drawing cards whenever I play a guy. I think this is a bit of a D. It's just kind of slow. Yeah, I can't help but feel D for this. Like, it's not bad, but it's also not especially great either. Now, this card is very interesting. If you're there, David, you're going to give me some insight on this one, right? Because we've got Vern Wingmare, and again, Seb coming in with the fucking art, by the way, but here we've got a 3 mana 2/1 Flying Pegasus, right? And non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. So it's basically Thalia for 1 extra mana. And Thalia is actually a played card. However, this has flying, which is about as good as a keyword as First Strike. But a big thing to take into consideration is that it's not legendary. So you can play this and then play another one. And that seems like a big distinction. People are saying it's downgraded, and like, yeah, I get that it's 1 extra mana. But you can have 2 of these on board. You have 4 of them on board. And that seems like actually relevant. I also think that this is, like, they're definitely putting in more, like, either white weenie or tax cards for white into standard. And I think that's exactly where white needs to be going. So I like this card a lot. I think this card is a solid C. I mean, if it was Thalia, you'd go Thalia, right? Thalia is a B. 3 mana is a big distinction, however, bearing in mind. So, let's think. Right, I'm going to put this into C. However, this could very well be bumped up to B. Because I think it's just Thalia's effect, but you can play more of it. Next we've got is Subria Tulzide Cavanier. Okay. Which is a 3 mana, 2/3 legendary human shaman creature with haste. So it comes in, and then you can pay 1, and it's just pay 1 generic mana. Another target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. That's fine, I guess. Hit it, like, put it on Dreadhold Butcher, I suppose, or something. And then you can pay 1 in a red and tap it, discard your hand, and then till the end of the turn, whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less deals combat damage, you draw a card. So this is very interesting, actually. I think this card is playable. Because it's sort of like Rick's Maddie, right? Kind of. So by turn 4, right? So you've just emptied your hand by turn 4. You can go discard your hand. And then you've got 4 mana, so you can make 2 things. So he lets you draw 2, kind of. If this is what we're going on, like, best case scenario. Okay, it's clearly a C. Is what it is. This is obvious C. Right, the obligatory spider for the set. And we've got Spore Silk Weaver, which is a 3 mana 1/4 spider creature. And it's got reach and hexproof from blue, so that's kind of nice, I guess. Can't be Teferied, I suppose. And whenever it's dealt damage, gain 1 life and create a 1/1 green sapling creature token. Now, is there a way of, like, a card that goes, like, deal 1 damage to this to do X? Because if so, then yeah, this is definitely abusable. But if not, then I don't know what you combo it with. In standard, anyway. And this makes a distinction between this being, like, potentially, like, a B. If there's, like, a way of really abusing it. To, like, C, D, even. Yeah, so it seems like nobody really knows how to abuse this. And I kind of agree. So, because of that, there doesn't really seem to be anything that you can abuse it with until a card is like deal X damage to something you control. It doesn't really have a use. So until I see that card, and it might be released in this set, I think I'm going to stick this card in C, because it is a good effect. Yeah, it definitely seems better than the cards in D for sure. Now we're on to Celestial Executioner. I think this card is absolute dog shit, to be honest, because it reminds me, like... So we've got Giant Killer, which is a 1 mana, which is like pay 1 in a white and tap it to tap a creature down. So it's the exact same effect, but you need to control something with flying to use it, and it's 3 mana. This card is fucking terrible. This is bad in draft as well. Even for a common, into it goes. We've got Sabertooth Mauler, another common, which is a 4 mana 3/3 cat creature. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Sabertooth Mauler, and untap it. It's just bad. Even in draft, it's one of those like, ugh, I guess I'm picking this. So now we're on to Thieves Guild Enforcer, which is 1 mana, 1/1 human rogue creature with flash. So I mean, that's actually really cool because this like triggers Slither Wisp and other such cards. And a 1 mana with flash is pretty decent. So whenever Thieves Guild Enforcer or another rogue enters the battlefield under control, each opponent mills 2 cards. So right, okay, so it's a mill card, right? And as long as the opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, wow, okay. Wow, okay. Holy shit, right. So this then becomes, if they have 8 or more cards in their graveyard, this is then a 1 mana 3/2 with Death Touch and Flash. Christ. Yeah, this card is really cool. I like this card a lot. I'm finding it really hard to say that this card isn't a B. I mean, I can't justify this any less than a B. It's really, really strong. And it's only 1 mana. So, yeah, fuck me, yeah, it's really cool. Moving swiftly on, we've got Trufflesnout, which is a 3 mana 2/2 boar creature. And it's 2 and a green to cast. And when it enters the battlefield, you can either put a 1/1 counter on it. So it's a 3 mana 3/3. Or you gain 4 life. I think, right, so it's obviously bad, but at the same time, I think this is a pretty solid pick in draft because it's a 3 mana 3/3, but the little you gain 4 life is actually going to be fairly relevant at some point. And again, we're not dealing with draft cards, but I find it hard to say it's not a D. Look at the art as well, the art's amazing. Look how fucking cute he is. So here we've got Wildwood Scourge, and I think this card's like kind of okay. It is a X and green 0/0 Hydra creature, but it enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters. And whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters are put on another non-Hydra creature, put a 1/1 counter on Wildwood Scourge. So this is kind of like, I can actually see this being like vaguely played in like green counters, right? So you play like Pelt Collector, and then you like play this on, say, turn 3 or 4. Pelt Collector gets a counter, and then this gets a counter because Pelt Collector gets a counter. And I think that's kind of cool. It's certainly not good enough. If this had Trample, it'd be so decent. Oh my god, if this had Trample, it'd be so good. But it doesn't. Probably D, but it's possible that the card gets better. Right, moving on to Tempered Veteran, and this is a 2 mana 1/2 Human Knight, 1 and a white to cast, and you can pay 1 white mana, put a 1/1 counter on target creature with a 1/1 counter on it. That's okay. And then you pay 6 mana and tap it to put a 1/1. Right, this card is fucking terrible. Jesus, it's so slow. Like for limited, it's like pretty decent, but we ain't talking about limited, and in actual fact, it's just kind of extremely slow and bad. Now, here's a card that I think is actually abusable / playable in some way, and it's Conclave Mentor. And it is a green and a white. It is a 2 mana 2/2 Centaur Cleric creature, green and a white to cast. And if 1 or more +1 counters would be put on a creature you control, that many +1 1/1 counters are put on that creature instead. So Pelt Collector comes in and you put 2 counters on it rather than 1. And, you know, you can kind of see where Selesnya are kind of going with this kind of thing. And then when Conclave Mentor dies, you gain life equal to his power. So there's going to be some way or some card that makes this big, and then this makes other things that get bigger. So I think this card's pretty solid. I'm going to say this is it's a C. Light C. light B, heavy C. Now we've got Gormand, which is a 6 mana 5/5 demon creature, and as an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature, and it's got flying and trample. And then when it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacks a creature. Now, this card I think is actually irritatingly bad. Like, by all accounts, it's like perfectly statted. 6 mana, blah 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 blah, enters the battlefield, your opponent needs to sack a guy. Like, I think this is an extremely good, like, this is an ungodly pick in draft. Like, fucking Christ, this is insanely good in draft. But outside the draft, this isn't that great. So I think the card is just good enough to not be in D, but it's like, fuck it, it's D. 6 mana is just too much for this kind of thing. See, if it was like 4 mana and it was a 3/3, it'd be way better. But being a 6 mana 5/5 is like, that's light years of difference. I just can't justify putting it up any bigger, but I would absolutely snap pick that in draft every time. Anyway, so we've got Feline Sovereign, which is a 3 mana 2/3 cat creature, and it's a rare. Other cats you control get +1/+1 and have protection from dogs, which I find is like a weird thing. Like, why would you give... Like, I thought cats and dogs might have like a synergy, so this implies that there's going to be something else, I guess. But whenever one or more cats you control deals combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment that player controls. So, I mean, this card is like, okay. Hopefully there is a, like, protection from dogs. Like, when is this ever gonna come up, realistically? And it's an expensive lord as well. I mean, this is absolutely worse than that dog lord card. Maybe what the deal is, right, is you have the Ren and Stimpy card, wherever it is. So you have this and you play either cats or dogs. You don't play cats and dogs. That might be what the deal is. Alright, so the last card is Miscast, and this card is... Oh my god, this card is so good. Oh, I hate the fact we need to deal with this, because it is a 1 mana counter spell that is, like, arguably better than Spell Pierce, right? Because Spell Pierce is, like, non-creature, like, I get it. Like, it's not quite as good as Spell Pierce, but we've got a Spell Pierce-esque card going into Standard, and it's counter target instant or sorcery, unless the controller plays 3. So it's got quite a high top end of, like, how much you can or can't play. Ugh. It's almost like a generic mystical dispute in a sense. I think this card is really, really good, and I'm going to be putting this in B. Alright, so the next card on the list is Enthralling Hold, which is a 5 mana blue enchantment aura that says, enchant creature, you can't choose an untapped creature as this spell's target as you cast it, and you control enchanted creature. So I think that the wording on this card is quite annoying. Just to make a point, why can it not just say enchant tapped creature? But whatever. I just feel like this card is like too limited in what it can hit, because there's a lot of big targets that you'd want to take. So take Torbran, for example. That doesn't tap. You can't tap anything. You can't, well, Torbran is never going to really tap, is what I'm saying. Can't take anything with Vigilance most of the time. And then you can just go, right, well, I'm just not going to swing in with stuff if you think your opponent has it or not. Like, I think this card's like a really good limited bomb, as Iradium said, but yeah, this card is just not quite good enough, sadly. But that's good. I'm glad, because it's like almost like a pseudo Agent of Treachery. And Agent of Treachery can suck my dick, so straight into D, but that's where it should be. It's where it should be. So next card is Liliana's Steward, which is an interesting card, and it is a 1 mana... It's a 1 mana black 1/2 zombie creature, and it has an activated ability where it's just tap it, sacrifice the card, and then target opponent discards a card. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. So this card is like a 1 mana Burglar Rats, which is kinda cool, I suppose. The problem being is that Burglar Rats lets you keep the body. This doesn't. Like, there is obviously an amount of applications that a card like this can have, and there might be like a niche for it, but I just think that on the whole, hand destruction tends to not be that great, especially slow hand destruction. The fact that you can't use this on your opponent's turn really lets it down. If you could, it'd be like fucking, it'd be really sick. Like, they draw, bang, card out their hand's gone, but maybe that's kind of busted. Point is, this card's just a little bit underwhelming. It's like essentially a worse Burglar Rats, And, you know, saying that sentence kind of shows you where this card should be. Just straight into D. Right, third card, and it is Liliana's Devotee, and this is a 3 mana black 2/3 human warlock creature, and zombies you control get +1/+0, so it's like a 3 mana zombie pseudo lord. And at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you may pay like 1 and a black. If you do, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So, right, I do kind of like this card in a lot of ways, but yeah, it's just kind of weird though, innit? Because if this was a 2 mana card to begin with, I actually think it would be pretty playable. Especially because there's plenty of like 2 mana lords that exist. But for 3 mana, I think this is probably really, really sick and limited. Honestly, I actually think that this could be quite good in like some kind of sack deck. Maybe post-rotation, honestly. Like, you go, like, Cat Oven, like, on their turn, bang, you get a zombie. Cat Oven, you get another zombie. And it's, like, a nice, like, free mana sink. So, I'm going to put this into C because I do think that being able to create infinity tokens under a lot of situations is pretty decent. Now, this is a card that I have read, and I think it is pretty good. And it is Liliana's Standard Bearer. Now, this is a 3 mana black 3/1 zombie knight, so we get the knight support, and it has flash, which is sick. And when Liliana's Standard Bearer enters the battlefield, draw X cards, where X is the number of creatures that died under your control this turn. Doesn't say non-token, so, you know, they board wipe you, bang, you get to recur all that advantage, and then you've still got a guy going into their, like, your turn. I think this card is actually legitimately really, really good. It's kind of like Midnight Reaper, except it is just for that turn, but obviously the way you use this card is a little bit different. It's okayly statted, but I think this card is like really, really cool. It's just more flash support, which is on one hand good and on another hand bad, depending on what you want. But I think this card is another solid C. Possibly B, honestly, because the effect is really, really decent. You know what? See the fact that it just has flash, it's pretty much automatically going to get played. I really want to put this into B. I'm feeling really strongly on this card a lot, honestly. It just seems so much more usable than most of these cards in C. So we've got Tolarian Kraken, and this is a 6 mana blue 4/6 Kraken creature. And whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1, and when you do, you may tap or untap target creature. So I have a feeling that this card is going to be abusable in some way, but it's also extremely highly costed. I think this card is absurdly good in draft. Definitely. Just draw a card. If you've got any amount of draw power, you can just tap your opponent's guys down and then just start swinging in. Or defensively, so it has a lot of applications in like a limited format for sure. In limited, sure. Standard limited also, I'm not counting that, I'm just making a point that it does have a limited place, but I think that this is probably D because this is just so much. So here's a pretty funny card, and it is Brash Taunter. However, I don't think this card is very good whatsoever. I think it's so highly costed, but there's 48 comments, which basically means it's going to have some kind of degenerate combo. So it is a 5 mana red goblin creature, a 1/1 goblin creature, and it's got indestructible. When Brash Taunter is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target opponent, and you can pay 3 mana and tap it, and it fights another creature. So it's kind of interesting because you can like fight their big guy and then deal damage to them, and this thing still stays alive. Really, the main issue with it is that it's expensive and incredibly slow. So the standard combo with this is you play Gideon's Sacrifice, right, which I guess you get to do for 3 months, and it targets all damage towards this card, and then it deals that much damage to your opponent. The thing is though is that these combos legitimately suck dick. I think the card is really cool, but I really don't see it doing anything at all. So I'm gonna put this into D. Like a 5 mana indestructible 1/1 really isn't very good. Next we've got Watcher of the Spheres. Spheres plural, yeah, apparently. So this is a 2 mana 2/2 bird wizard, and it's Azorius colours, so blue and a white to cast, and it's got flying. So I mean, a 2-mana 2/2 with flying is like right on the money, but it has more effects. So creature spells with flying you cast cost 1 less to cast. I think that's actually really sick. This allows Empyrean Eagle to only be 2 mana. So I quite like how if you're on turn 4, you go play that, play Eagle. Whenever another creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, this gets +1/+1 till the end of the turn. I think this card is like, there's clearly a big Azorius Flyers theme in this set, and I think this card obviously fits directly into it. So I'm going to stick this firmly in C, because what it does, it's pretty great, honestly. So here we've got a card that it seems way better than what it actually is, right? So it is a strictly worse Sky Knight Vanguard. Both of which are the same rarity, bear in mind. So this is a 4-mana white 2/3 human soldier creature, and whenever this card attacks, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying that's tapped and attacking. So it does create guys that have flying, but it's 4 mana and it doesn't fly itself. Sky Knight Vanguard is just so incredibly better than this card. We've got Canopy Stalker, which is a 4-mana green 4/2 cat creature, and this card must be blocked if able, and when it dies you gain 1 life for each creature. My god, this card is fucking awful. Holy Christ, this is absolutely fucking awful. This card would be better with Death Touch and Indestructible Hexproof, Lifelink, Vigilance's Reach. Yeah, this is an E. This is solid E. God, this card is fucking terrible. So the next card we've got is K. However the fuck you're supposed to pronounce that, the Spiteful, right? K the Spiteful, and it is a 4-mana 2/3 legendary human warlock creature, and it's 2 and 2 black to cast. Other creatures get -1/-1. So this also hits your guys. It implies that there's probably like some kind of like weird infinite loop with this or something, but yeah, people are saying it's pretty, like, I think it's just way overcosted, like, for what it does. If this was 3 mana, I think it would be super playable, but it's not 3 mana. My head's just saying D, and yeah, I think it probably is a D. The next card is Niambi, Esteemed Speaker, and it is a 2-mana 2/1 legendary human cleric, and it is a blue and a white to cast, and it has flash, so it's kind of interesting, right? So I mean, it's not like completely out there, but generally speaking, I don't think I've seen anything like blue-white with flash at this point. Anyway, when this card enters the battlefield, you may return another target creature you control to its owner's hand. If you do, you gain life equal to that creature's converted mana cost, and then you can pay 1, a blue and a white, and tap it, discard a legendary card, draw 2 cards. Right, so this card is like obviously good. I don't know how, but it definitely seems like it has some kind of use. It has 2 good effects, but I just don't know how much they fit into the current meta. So I am going to put Niambi into C. It's hard to, like, its effects are so good that it's hard to justify lower than that, but let's just hope there's a space for this card at some point in the future. Right, so Battle Rattle Shaman. We've got another Goblin. So this is a 4-mana 2/2 red Goblin Shaman. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target creature get +2/+0 to the end of turn. Wait. What? This card's terrible. This is awful. This is a terrible card. And I think 4 comments, like, reflects that. My god, it's just so bad. Like, I get it's, like, probably okay and limited, but fuck, this is an absolute E. A strong E. So, as far as I'm aware, this card's probably quite good, unsubstantiate, so it's kind of like unsummon, but it can also hit things on the stack, so it's basically like, it kind of negates as well. It's sort of like Aether Gust. No, it's technically not a counter. So here's the thing, like, this is sort of in a way like a 2-mana counter spell, but like the The flip side of that is, like, your opponent still gets to keep the card. But I think this card's actually really decent. Like, it's probably sick, actually. I think this card's probably, honestly, probably a B. Like, it really seems like this is a very good control card. Next card we've got is Glorious Anthem, and this card I think is like... So I don't think that this card is ever going to see any play, because it is a 3 mana white enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. It is an exact copy of Gaia's Anthem, which is just the green version of this card. But the reason why I don't think it will see play is that, you know, stuff like... it's 3 mana and it's an artifact, then you pick a colour and everything of that colour gets +1/+0, but also taps for a mana. Like, that just seems so universally better than this card. Possibly White Weenie. Like, it is a good Anthem card, but I mean, put it into C. It's definitely not higher than C. Because it's not exactly a bad effect. I just think it is kind of outclassed, so right, this card is absolutely... this card is so hard to place, right? And I mean, yeah, the card is, like, the last card is just kind of like a Worst Crusade. And there is such a huge difference between, like, 3 and 2 mana. But anyway, Discontinuity is a 6 mana blue instant. And as long as it's your turn, it basically is 2 mana. And you just end the turn. And then Enter on the stack is exiled. The player whose turn it is discards down to their maximum hand size. So it's very interesting because, you know, it stops your opponent somehow winning on your turn, like a burn spell or whatever. And then it also it stops your opponent winning on their turn. But for 6 mana, like, is that good enough? Right, I know for a fact that this card will definitely see play, but I just don't know how. Like, it's the kind of thing you just need to sit down and play with to really get a feel for. But I think the effect is just, like, so powerful that it's probably a B, right? So, at the very least, this card is definitely going into B. And I am terrified to see what this card is potentially going to do. Hopefully it doesn't do fucking anything. So here we've got Finishing Blow. This is one of those cards where there's always, like, a 5 mana something or other killer, like, thing. And I think that this is literally just for draft. Like, it is what it is. It's kind of weird to go, right, this card is definitely E because it is outclassed by fucking everything. But that's fine because it's just a fine limited removal spell. And that's all these cards are for, just simply for limited. So here we go, we've got Terror of the Peaks. This is a very interesting card. And it is a 5 mana, 5/4 flying dragon, 3 and a red to cast, 3 and 2 red to cast. And spells your opponent casts that target this cost an additional 3 life to cast. I think that's fine. That's a nice, like, red effect. I guess black would have stuff like that as well. But whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Now, post-rotation, this card is actually pretty great. Currently, again, this just doesn't fit into current red because red kills you by turn 5, so it just doesn't need this thing. But you can definitely tell they're pushing a big red. And this card certainly facilitates that. Play a guy, deal tons of damage. I can see this, like, being played in, like, a kind of, like, Gruul variant. Like, this could fit into Gruul really well. You can play this on turn 3 with the right ramp quite easily, actually. And that's, like, this on turn 3 is fucking terrifying, I'll tell you that. So yeah, I think Terror of the Peaks is a really, really good card. Straight into B. Silversmote Ghoul is up next, and I think this card is actually legitimately so good. So, it is a 3 mana, 3/1 zombie vampire creature, and it's 2 and a black to cast. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life this turn, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tap. Now, I love that because I really want to play, like, Orzhov Life Gain when this set comes out, and I think this card just fits straight into that. And you can pay 1 and a black, sacrifice this card, draw a card. I think that's really, really good. This card's like super solid. Straight into C, absolutely playable. So here we've got Griffin Aerie, and this is a 2-mana white enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 white Griffin creature token with flying. I really like this card a lot. I feel like this just snowballs like super hard. And if you gain 3 or more life, that's so easy. That's so easy. However, it's not at the beginning of the end step, it's your end step. So you only get to create 1 Griffin, because with like Revitalize, you could play that on your opponent's turn, create a Griffin as well. That'd be really good. If this was like more robust, if it was like during the end step, I think you could safely say that this card could be like a B, but I think this is a C. It's just a wee bit more limited than I wished it was. We've got another cool card. So there's a lot of cards like this in this set where initially I'm just like, this card's so cool, but ultimately I think it probably won't see play. But we've got Speaker of the Heavens, which is a 1-mana 1/1 white human cleric creature with vigilance and lifelink, right? For 1 mana. And you can tap it, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying, activate this ability only if you have at least 7 more life than your starting life total. It's hard to tell. I think maybe like by turn 4 this can start making things, but I just think that on the surface this seems better than what it actually is. But with an effect like this, I think it's hard to say that it's not a C. But I can't put it any higher than that. But I really hope that this card actually does see an amount of play. So we've got another another rare, so we've got another land that actually has text on it, and this is a colorless land. Doesn't come in tapped, which is nice. But you can pay 2 mana. Just put 2 mana, and you can put a 1/1 counter on target bird, cat, dog, goat, ox, or snake. I think that's really nice. It's a fairly well costed way for a land anyway to just buff a guy up, and you can just keep doing that forever, and you just always have the option to do it if you've got free mana. I think that's fair. Like, you really can't ask for a lot more than that. So I think I can just go straight into C. You could, I mean, this will get played in Flyers decks, anything that plays cats and dogs, I suppose. Plus the art is like so wholesome, like fucking hell. Like, why all these and then also snake? It's just so limited. There's like so many like creature types that it should be able to put counters on, but whatever. Next card is Library Larcenist, which is a 3-mana blue merfolk rogue creature with 1/2 stats, and whenever Library Larcenist attacks, draw a card. It's pretty bad. It's really bad, but it's clearly alright in draft. Like, I'd be fine with this in draft. Lets you, like, you know, keep up some card advantage, but otherwise this is just going straight into E. So we've got Rousing Read, which is a 3-mana blue enchantment aura that reads, enchant creature, when Rousing Read enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards and discard a card. That's okay for 3 mana, I guess, and then enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. This doesn't seem too bad. Like, this is an insanely good limited pick. God, if this was 2 mana, it'd be so decent, but I really don't see it getting much play, but it is kind of like objectively alright, especially when it's an enchantment aura that essentially replaces itself and gives you a loot, so alright, I think you can put this into D. And then the last card we've got today is Colossal Dreadmaw, which is a 6-mana 6/6 dinosaur with trample. And I mean, it is what it is, right? There's really no ifs or buts about it. Straight into S. I mean, I just think it's insane that they keep printing this card, and it's like they just don't give a shit about how it impacts the meta every single time. They print this card over and over again, and every single time it's just a nightmare for everybody. Like, and the fact that it's a common, everybody gets it, so it's just played in every single deck. I just don't understand what they're trying to do with Colossal Dreadmaw. I don't like, it's almost like someone has like a mental illness and this is a symptom of it, and I just don't get it. But Is what it is. Yet another format that we need to deal with Colossal Dreadmaw for a year, but whatever. Whatever, right? I mean, I guess I'm not an official card designer or whatever, but who am I to say? It's absolutely shocking that they keep printing this fucking shit, but whatever. Well, I guess we just deal with it, right? We just move on. That's all we can do. So the next card on the list is Hooded Blightfang, and this is a 3-mana black 1/4 snake creature with Death Touch. And whenever a creature you control with Death Touch attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So they're clearly pushing for this, like, you know, black-white life gain kind of thing. But and then it also has an effect of whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a Planeswalker, destroy that Planeswalker. So they're also trying to push this sort of Death Touch tribal kind of thing, which people have tried to make decks out of, like in the past, during this particular standard rotation, and I personally quite like it. I think this Death Touch deck's pretty fun. I don't know if this card is really going to see a whole lot of play. The thing is though, is it's quite hard to justify putting this low than a C, because ultimately all its effects are pretty good and it is fairly well costed, it doesn't die to shock and other such things. So yeah, I think we can safely put this down to a C, but ultimately I wouldn't want to put any higher than that. I doubt it's ever going to see a huge amount of play. Coming up next, we've got this interesting card, which is Palladium Myr. It is a 3-mana colorless 2/2 artifact Myr creature, and it taps for 2 colorless mana. Now, I think that's really cool. It's kind of like an expensive slow Sol Ring, but in standard, maybe this has a place. I definitely think that this has a place in historic. I think this is probably really good in those historic artifact decks. Perhaps this has a good place in the artifact, like all that glitters deck, potentially. Like, it's really good ramp, but at the same time, like, it is slow and it's a 3-mana mana dork. But admittedly, I did also think that Llanowar Visionary is a really good 3-mana mana dork, but there's a lot of context behind that card being as good as it is. So this card is probably, I want to say D, but it has so much utility around it. It's probably a C card. It's kind of hard to justify less than that because this card has, like, it's really cool. Like, this card is really cool. And the last card of today is Scavenging Ooze. This is a 2-mana 2/2 green ooze creature, 1 and a green to cast, so this is like super flexible. And it's got pay 1 green mana, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a 1/1 counter on Scavenging Ooze and you gain 1 life. This card is crazy decent. Like, holy shit. So it's not even once per turn, you don't even need to like tap it or anything like that. You just pay a green, bang, remove a card, and this thing gets bigger. This card's so good, especially at late game, and it's like a huge counter to Uro in like various other decks as well. And you can exile any card from a graveyard, and if it was a creature. So like, this card is like legit so fucking decent. I'm feeling like a pretty strong B on this one, possibly even A. Really, like, this is, I don't see how this isn't seen play. This card is really cool. Yeah, I'm feeling B. I'm feeling B. And there we go. That is the end of today's video. And this is currently what the tier list is looking like. I mean, we're 145 cards into the tier list now, and there's still so many more to go. Like, I feel like the set already feels complete, yet it isn't at all. There's another half of it to go, which is crazy. I'm feeling a bit more confident in this tier list. Like, when I rated the cards for Ikoria, like, they definitely seemed like they'd be way good, but I'm feeling like this is going to be fairly representative of what we're going to be seeing in the current meta anyway. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, watch the rest of my stuff, because I'll be doing this for the all sets coming in the future, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it, because I definitely enjoyed doing it. But anyway, I'll leave you guys there, and I'll see you in the next video. Catch you later. Hey, so thanks for watching this video to the end, and again, if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing and hitting the bell icon if you enjoyed it. And also, if you really enjoyed it, go follow us on Facebook and Twitter if you like magic memes, and go follow us on Twitch as well, where you get to watch videos like this happen live. And obviously, that means you get to interact with us as well, and we're pretty cool. You'll like us. Anyway, just thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next video.